Hello and welcome to Term Project Leadership Interviews from Professor Ira Crethrier, presented by Group 13.
Thank you for granting us in this interview. Our purpose today is to gain some insight into what makes leaders effective in their organizations. May I introduce my group members: Dev, Kadir, Edison, Omar, Jimmy, and Usmati. Um, could you please tell us about your current position and the scope of your responsibilities?
Absolutely. My name is Alex. I'm actually a resident services lead. So I'm basically, I guess, the first level of manager at the Ontario Tech and Durham College residents. Basically, what we do, we just we're kind of the go-between the upper management and then just like the front desk staff. So I spend a lot of the day making sure that everything's going well at the front desk. And then, as I can see on the slide here, I have a education in forensic psychology. So I'm kind of applying it to the job, but not really.
Let's talk about today's topic. What are some of the most important leadership qualities that organizations look for when they're hiring new minded graduates? And what are the best way to develop and demonstrate those? Here's the first question for
Well,
you.
sorry, yes.
How is your organ? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah, I was gonna say, okay, how is...
I'm gonna ask
Sorry, go,
I'm
go
gonna ask
ahead, my
question and then
apologies.
gonna answer. Yeah. So
Yeah,
question
that,
one. Okay. Yeah. So question one. How your organization speak to identify high potential employees among the newly hired employees.
well, generally when we do that, we make sure that we hire everybody and we give them the same sort of time frame basically to get all the training done. And honestly, it's kind of just watching to see who gets their training done and who gets their training done quickly and is able to take that information and apply it to new things. Um, we've definitely had some new hires recently that have really excelled at that. Like they've really they've gone right into the job and they are good at taking what they learn and applying it to situations even when it's not a situation that they've encountered before.
Yeah. Thank you.
So our organization's motto, I think, actually is lead, develop, connect. So I guess those are the three skills. Leadership, obviously, is a big one. The ability to work independently and to work with a group and take charge when needed. And then develop is that same sort of thing. It's to continue to work on yourself to constantly be improving. And then connect is kind of the customer service side, which is a lot of our job because we are interacting with students and sometimes with hotel guests as well during the summer. So it's kind of those three skills. It's leadership, it's your ability to improve yourself, and then just kind of the customer service side.
What are some of the most common challenges people face in your profession specifically?
I would say probably the most common challenge that people in my profession face are sometimes you have guests that don't necessarily want to listen to what you're saying, and the customer is always right, of course, but sometimes the customer doesn't know what is right for them. And so it's sometimes having to balance that. Some people get frustrated, they have a lot going on, that sort of thing. So you just kind of have to put yourself in their shoes, understand what's going on, and then try to make it better for them. And I feel like, again, most of the people that work at our company right now do a great job of that. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge is just dealing with the folks who have complaints or concerns.
Just a side note that we need to start this to the 15 to 15 minutes video. So yeah, if you have examples or anything, so you can share it. So we can have like a long video. So yeah, thank you.
Sorry, yeah. So absolutely. So like a common challenge I would say is like honestly, probably the most common one that we get during the school year is any sort of noise complaint. So if somebody calls down to the desk and they have a noise complaint for an area around their space, we've got one student I know that the games room has to be closed at 10 because from their room they can hear the sound. So we've worked with them to try and basically make sure that that gets sorted out. And so now moving forwards, we try to close it at 10 p.m. So it's things like that. It's just the common like day-to-day things that we want to make sure that people are having a good experience.
What answer do you expect when you are asked where do you want to take the organization over the next 5 years?
That is a great question. For people who are coming in and want to stay in the company, I would say that it's one of those things where I expect to hear these people say, well, I would like to, honestly, I would say I'd like them to be in my position is generally what I like to hear them say, because that means that they're looking to take an active role in shaping the way that the company is going. That same sort of thing. We just want to show that people want to keep improving our customer service, improving our ability to help the students. In the summer, obviously, trying to help with their business and whatnot. So it's kind of depends on which part of the business it is that they're talking about. But if they're talking about the student season, I like to hear them say that they'd like to be in a management position and be able to continue helping people. Whereas hotel season, I would say that I'd like to hear them talking about how they would like to help improve our ability to, I guess, attract customers and honestly, just to make people's experience the best it could be.
Okay, how do you describe your management style?
I would say that I'm pretty laissez-faire. I pretty much allow people to work on their own. I try to offer guidance where I can. At the same time, I am definitely a bit of a micromanager when it's things that I feel like I can assist with. So if it's a specific question that I know the answer to, I sometimes will be a bit of a hover above the employee, which I need to work on myself. But in general, I prefer if somebody knows the answer, they don't need me to tell them what the answer is. So I tend to be more laissez-faire and try to offer guidance when it's asked for, but try not to offer it quite so much when it's not asked for.
So question 6. What other professional experience do people typically have when you interview them?
We kind of take everybody and anybody. So we definitely have had a bunch of applicants who don't really have any experience. We've had some people, I think, hired directly out of high school. I mean, in a sense, that was me. I got hired in my first year, which was almost 10 years ago now. And it was one of those things where I'd worked for 2 years, but I didn't have any experience in like this kind of customer service, like accommodations or anything like that. I just worked at I'd worked at a Tim Hortons previously. So it was, fast food customer service. So it's nice when people come from a background like that, because if they come from a background in customer service and especially in fast food, I know they can take whatever comes up. Like if you can work for longer than 6 months in fast food, you are set. Like you will survive in any environment. But some of the people we've had hired and the ones that actually I look at and I go, okay, yeah, like as long as their interview is good, we want to hire them. Folks who come from the hotel background, because it's the same sort of thing. Like it may be accommodations for students, but it's the same sort of accommodations thing. Like it transfers the skills a lot better.
According to you, what are some of the most important characteristics as a successful leader should have?
I think that probably the most important characteristic a successful leader should have would be the ability to listen and take basically advice, or take basically if somebody on the team offers a different perspective or like a unique thought on how something should go, the leader should at least take it in and like listen to it. They shouldn't discount it outright. Honestly, I feel like people just the ability to connect with your employees and say, okay, yeah, like this is what we need to do. How can we do it in a way that best uses the skills that we have? So I think communication is probably the biggest part of that. That is a good question. I think that there is a degree of leadership that can definitely be taught. I think that obviously, if you already kind of have that natural leadership ability, you're going to be obviously starting off in a better place. But I think that leadership can definitely be taught. It's just basically making sure that the first step, honestly, beyond anything to do with like skills or how to do this or that, it's learning the confidence. As long as somebody has confidence, they can be a leader. So the first step really is, I don't know if it's something that can be trained, but it's definitely something that can be learned. To learn to be confident and be confident in yourself, because if you believe what you're doing, then your team will be behind you. I think that it's easier probably if it comes from a person spontaneously. I'm not going to say that I would say that anybody can become a leader, but there are definitely people that are set up to be leaders. And yeah, I mean, we've all been through school. We all know the process. There are the folks that are super eager to always be on top and doing everything all right at the same time. And then there's the folks that are kind of like, I'll be part of the team, but I don't really necessarily want to be in the spotlight. So it's one of those things. Those people can still be leaders when they need to, but they're not necessarily going to be as comfortable with it, and they're not necessarily going to be as capable at it.
Okay, so question 9. What are some interview questions you may ask to see if a graduate has any leadership qualities?
One of the questions that we tend to ask in interviews that I think best demonstrates this is a situation where we ask, what is a situation that you have encountered that basically is like an issue or something in like the workplace or potentially at school or whatever, and then what steps did you take to address the problem and then solve it? Because I feel like that shows real leadership, because it's like, yes, I noticed there's a problem. I'm not just throwing it to whoever is like my superior or whatever to take care of this. It's, okay, I see there's a problem. What can I do to solve the problem? And I think that's a great question for that. And it's a hard one to answer. Like, gosh, it was 9 years ago, but like, I don't remember my answer to that question. And I don't know what it would be at this point. I'd probably have to think about it for a while. And it's good. If a question makes a applicant think, then you know it's a good question for them.
As many graduates do not have work experience, what can you show them to give them an edge in their competition?
I would say that you don't have to have work experience. If you have lived experience and you are able to translate that into situations that might be asked as potential questions, like what I was just talking about, doesn't have to be a work where you notice something and fixed it. It can be like a situation in your house. It can be a situation at school. It doesn't have to be something like specifically work related. And that's really, honestly, that's kind of the thing for a lot of interview questions. They are phrased as like previous workplace stuff. But as long as you can put it out there and, I don't know how I'm trying to say, but like, as long as you can say it in such a way that like it comes across that way, it doesn't actually have to be a work thing. If you've done like volunteer stuff, if you've been in a club, something like that, those all count as work experience. So you can use those sorts of things. They don't necessarily translate super well onto a resume, but they definitely translate into the interview.
Yeah, so other than the resume, what kind of like attribute or trait do you look at an applicant so they can give you an edge to their competition?
Honestly, what I tend to look at, I mean, it's classic, but it is true. Like, if they come dressed properly to the interview, if they know what they're doing, if they seem confident, that is the biggest thing, really, is confidence. Because if somebody is confident, then you can teach them something and they will feel that they've learned it to be able to do it. So coming out confident, which hopefully most people with a degree are, and I would say just being able to answer questions better. You kind of have that education to be able to like take situations and like bring it back to something that you've learned. I'm trying to think what sets that, like how they can set themselves apart there. But I would say, again, it's having a decent resume is always a good start to get you in the door. But then dressing properly, coming to the interview, being able to answer the questions, honestly, admitting when you can't answer a question, that is a big thing as well. Like if it's something that you don't have experience with, that's fine. Just say that, because like if you don't have the experience, it's better to not just make it up. And the I can't think of what I was trying to say. I think there was more, but it's not there right now.
Yeah. So with that, we done the interview here and we done the question. So thank you so much for joining this meeting, group 13, and special thanks to Mr. Alexander to giving us this our time so we can interview them. And thank you for sharing the thoughts and your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I'm glad to be able to help. I hope things go well for you.
Okay, pause the. Okay, stop the recording. Yeah. All right. I want to personally thank you, like without any pressure. Thank you so much for joining.
Sorry that I couldn't. Sorry that I couldn't do 10:30. I was out yesterday. It was my
no. It's
90th, and
it's perfect. It's on time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on time.
But,
yeah, 30 minutes. Like it's for like
glad I was able to
whole
help.
interview time.
Yeah, I hope that things go well for you guys. But it honestly seemed like a great presentation. So it seems like you guys have it in the bag, so to speak. So.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Miss Alexandra, you're free to leave. I'm sorry, I'm wasting your time by saying this, but yeah, you're free to leave.
Yeah, not a problem. It's not a waste of time at all. I'm again happy to do it. It's what we're here for. So.
Okay, so group 13.
All right. Well,
yeah.
if I am gonna go now. So have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, so we done an interview. So next step is I'm gonna edit the video